Bill and Bob. Bob's getting some stuff. We're ready to get started.
All right.
So you got Bob here. Got the HTC Vive, which we're going to talk about. Mandy's going to be our moderator. She's going to.
Okay, she's going to be in the background. We have a bunch of topics we want to go over. She's going to feed them to us as we go along. We're going to try to make this video short, and we're going to try to get to the point.
But if you have any questions, shout them out in the chat. And if somebody joins, could check and see. Mandy, let me know if anybody joins so we can see if chat's working.
As soon as I get in, absolutely.
All right, so she's getting in now.
So once we get in, we want to validate chat because the last time we did this, chat wasn't working correctly.
And we've been on Reddit trying to keep up with the post, everybody's posting, trying to log in and give our comments. So for people that have joined our, how many live streams have we done so far?
This is before.
Anybody who's joined our other 3 live streams kind of already knows our opinion on this. The title is going to throw a couple people off, but we're gonna explain it in a second. But Mandy's got our topics ready to go. So you want to throw us our first topic?
Yes, breaking your Vive.
Okay.
Breaking your Vive is the first topic. Mandy, do we have anybody in chat?
There are 6 people watching.
Can you just ask if chat is working?
All right. So let's talk about breaking in Vive because we've read a lot of Reddit posts, a lot of threads that are saying don't do it because of this. Don't do it because of this. So we keep hearing, don't do it. Now, it amazes us that...
Marcel said hey.
Hey guys. It amazes us, and some of you that have already done this mod knows exactly where we're coming from. You can tell the people that are commenting who are saying don't do it because they've done the mod.
There's like 3 sets of people. There's the people that did it and then give their feedback and say don't do it. That's fantastic.
Yeah, that is what the community wants to hear.
Right.
This is what failed.
Then you got those people who believe they know everything and just throw their opinion out there and say don't do it, but
because of these reasons,
but they didn't
really try anything to back up those reasons.
So you got those people, and then you got the people that actually have done it, and then are in one boat or another for several different reasons. We're going to cover most of those.
All right. So here's what we're going to say. First, what our opinions really don't matter. Look, can we just say that our opinions don't matter? We've done this mod. We've done the mod on 2. We did it 9 days ago.
Yeah.
We've played it for 9 days. 9 days.
And don't forget, our initial video was to do the mod, and then if you haven't watched the second video, we took a Vive that was not modded and a Vive that was modded and did a comparison live for you. So this isn't like a judgment based on our thought or the way we thought the Vive looked after we did the mod, because that can play tricks with you.
Right.
When you start looking for things, and you've played we've had our Vive since it came out, and once you start playing your Vive, if you no longer start looking for that, the Vive looks fantastic.
And I'll give you a perfect example. Today I was cooking dinner, watching the Flyers game. My son, all right, so the boys are out of the playoffs, but my son was downstairs using the Vive. He was playing Onward. So I decided to watch the Flyers game in the kitchen. While I was watching the Flyers game, I put on my prescription glasses. And guess what? The whole time I wore those mofos, I focused on barrel distortion.
On your glasses?
And my prescription glasses. Yeah. Typically, I would never look for that. I started seeing it, and I couldn't stop seeing it. So when you start to focus on things, you start to notice things. So
it's hard to do. Try to block out.
Right.
If you do it, try to block out all the negatives.
Also, we should tell you that, I don't know if you can see it in the background, we have a 3D printer, so the investment of making a part, breaking a part, doing a part over again really isn't a big deal for us. We've been using the 3D printer for many years. So, but here's how we're going to start this off. Our opinion doesn't matter, so if you're going to take your expensive HMD and you're hesitant on taking a blade, a screwdriver, anything, taking this apart, guess what we're going to tell you to do? Don't do it. If you're intimidated and you say, no, this isn't going to work, it's not going to work. Don't do it. You shouldn't do it. There is a chance that you're going to jack this up. There's a chance. We've watched videos. You've seen our videos. If you go, I dare you grab some popcorn. It's cringeworthy. Go back to our original video and watch us do our first mod on
That's
the
the
Vive.
reason why we did that video, is to show if it was easy as everybody said it was, or whether you were going to run into some difficulties. And for us, we ran into some difficulties.
Keep doing this. Keep doing this, because the mere fact that you're doing this with all 10 fingers amazes me.
I know.
After
because
you
we
did
should have
that
cut
mod.
like 3 of them off.
I'm
during
going to cover a few things with just my headset. This was the second mod we did. All right. So, and this I did not mention in any Reddit post. I'm going to be honest with you. This is something that just happened to come up, but you did see it in the second video. So currently, right here, I'm holding up 3 more of the, and I don't have my glasses on, 3 more of the nose rest. Why am I holding this up? Well, because when we took off the nose rest of the Vive in order to swap out the lenses,
Which was a suggestion by one of our viewers.
It was a good suggestion.
It was a good suggestion.
We took it off and we struggled to get this nose rest back on. Well, guess what? The nose rest is not going back on. The nose rest actually broke. I could not tell you if it's the HMD holding the nose rest that's broke or the nose rest itself. But right now, that's taped on. Not too concerned about it. It's a nose rest. I can deal with that. Here's another thing that came up. While I was playing my Vive the other night, the entire headset fell apart. And this portion right here, matter of fact, here. I know you're not going to be able to see this on camera, but I am holding up a piece of my HMD.
This is it. This is the piece of the HMD. This is actually from inside.
This is from inside my headset. This actually should be in the side of my headset. The screw was laying on the floor, and there was about 3 or 4 pieces of my headset laying on the floor. So we had to do some emergency surgery, and I had to screw the whole thing back together. Now, I have an advantage or disadvantage. Now I have no way of stopping this from going all the way up, because there's no locking mechanism now. And I can no longer flip my headset up. I can no longer adjust my headset by pulling the outer rings out, the rotators, and moving it back and forth. I can no longer do that until I get this piece in here. I couldn't tell you if it happened because of the lens swap, I was putting force on it, but that's the end result.
We're not saying that happened due to this lens swap. It might have been pure coincidence. We're just kind of giving those folks an idea of the things that you could run into
that you could go wrong
when you do it. So
that's it.
Let's pause there. Is there any questions on chat?
No questions, just a few comments of stuff that people have already done it. Joe, she was the one that did the nose rest, told you to take the nose rest off, so.
We're not blaming Joe, by the way.
No.
We're not blaming anybody.
That was the reason why we did the video, so we can get suggestions from everybody to join. Mm-hmm. That was a very good suggestion. It really did help with.
It did help. I wouldn't recommend working around the nose rest.
Yeah, but we wouldn't recommend pulling it off.
He says that he did the mod, but he needs to find a way to tweak the configuration parameters. Jaren, one of our newer ones, says he has a scratch on his lens from doing the mod today.
Okay.
Thankfully, it doesn't affect his vision. Joe also said that what he found is when he played the tutorial originally, the controllers pretty much matched what he could feel in real life, i.e. touching them ring to ring together. However, with the mod and version 3 configuration, they are slightly smaller and there is a noticeable gap when you go to touch them together in a tutorial, and I kind of noticed that a little bit.
Okay. So we're going to touch on quite a few of them. We have them written down. One of the other things is that we have written down is you most definitely can scratch your lenses, your original Vive lenses, pulling these mofos out. So these are all chances you're going to take. So for all the people in Reddit that are creating these posts that are saying, don't do it because of this, we agree. Don't do it if you're afraid of jacking up your Vive. However, that is not to say that we do not like our modification. No. We're just telling you, don't do it if you're afraid of jacking up your Vive. But to turn around and tell people that have successfully done it and have gotten really good experience, to tell them, oh, they shouldn't have done it, it doesn't work because of this, everybody is different. Everybody's face is different. Everybody's prescription glasses are different. So really, people's results are going to vary. I'm just letting you know. But I'm letting you know, if you're afraid, don't do it. So that was our first topic. Don't do it if you're afraid of doing it. What was the second thing on our list?
So knob to adjust the distance of the lenses.
Okay, so the knobs to adjust the distance to the lenses. I truthfully don't know how to fix this. I'm going to do some research. I believe it's a screw, and then it's just a matter of getting the pieces in the right way.
Yeah, I'm guessing that piece right there is what.
Yeah, one
makes
of these pieces are going to
Oh.
stop it from focusing. So I will update the Vive Reddit in our next video. If we do another video, we'll update you on that to see if that repair goes well. I'm not blaming the lens modification on it, but here's what we think happened. If you look at our couple videos, we were taking a suction cup and we were really applying some pressure, pulling it up and down. And I don't know if I was holding. I have to look back at the video, but I don't know if I was maybe holding onto the Vive.
And we could have
the
well
wrong
been
way.
because we were really holding pressure. So
We were. So
it's a precautionary measure. Just be careful what you hold on to
Yeah.
when you're taking out these lenses, because the original Vive lenses, for some folks, like we hear that the Pro version, the adhesive on it is not as tough as the Vive version. And our opinion on that is, well, the Pro version just got released. Think about your Vive, how long you've had it. We've had it since launch. So you're talking about over a year
Yeah,
of
2 years,
heat
is it?
in that lens.
Yeah.
And
Summertime,
making
you
it
get sweaty.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm sure it messes
I'm
with
sure
you.
the older Vives, that adhesive that holds on the lens is going to be much tighter. If you have a newer Vive, your adhesive may not be as hard to get those lenses off. So I guess it varies. When you read about that adhesive, I think it varies on the length of time you've had it, how warm the headset gets when you wear it. There's a lot of factors. I mean, you got to factor in everything.
Right. How we doing over there, Mandy?
We are good. There's another question came into the chat.
Okay. And we will, by the way, we'll address the issue on the smaller hands and all.
So Marcel says, have you guys experienced any sort of eye strain or headaches after 9 days?
Good.
I keep experiencing slight headaches, but I'm not sure if it's due to the distortion.
Okay.
He says he's hoping that someone will make a more low profile. Wait, hold on. It might be pressure from the adapter against my nose eyebrows. I feel like after swapping the thin 6mm face rest to a thicker one, it became a little better. He's hoping someone will make a low profile adapter so you can use the thin face rest, but it might be he might be able to use it.
I
Yeah, so let's jump back. Let's jump around on our list.
we're going to
That's
jump
one
over.
of the
We
things
actually
that we
have
have.
these listed.
So
We'll
this
jump
really
in.
comes down to headaches, comfort, and all that, and that's something that we have written down. So let's talk about that. You want to talk
Yeah,
about that?
we'll go around. Mandy, just keep track of what we're talking so we're not going.
I'm trying to.
Okay.
Okay, so comfort-wise, so this has been, Bill's experience has been a little bit different than my experience because in his house, he really has him and his wife. He's the primary user. He plays it
My
most
wife
of the time.
vaguely plays it. She
Um,
played it tonight before I came over here.
In my house, we have 3 that are constantly using it, me, my son, my daughter, and then my wife every once in a while, she'll jump in and she'll play it. Here's what I found is happening in my house. Before you got the I forgot what are they called? The enhanced headset, the
Pro version of the
yeah,
headset.
before they came out with this, you just had the Velcro strap that went on, and I found that my family would take the Velcro strap, tighten it or loosen it based off of who was playing, and then change the focal point of the lenses to meet their eyes, and then that's pretty much what they did. Changed and then moved, and then they started playing.
And that's what I did. But because I was the primary, I didn't do it as often. I only did it after hours of playing. For some reason, either by sweat or just by me moving, the headset would droop down a little bit, and I'd have to readjust. But when you have the older lenses, I'm going to say some of you who have done the mod will notice that the older lenses, that focal point is so much smaller that you are also adjusting. You found yourself adjusting.
That's what I noticed has
headset.
not been happening in my
Yeah,
house.
so because of that constant, you're playing a game with a lot of activity, it moves, and that your sweet spot will adjust, and you're constantly moving that headset up and down. That's the way it used to be.
Right.
That's the way we used to have it.
Depending on the game, if we're playing a game where you're primarily standing in one spot, you're focused in one area, you're not really doing a lot. What I have noticed is my family will take the headset, they'll pop it on, they'll turn this in the back, and then they'll focus, and they're done. As a matter of fact, when they pop it on, I don't see them, what I used to see, which was Bill was just explaining, moving around the HMD, trying to get to the sweet spot. and then starting to play a little bit, and then moving it around again to get to that sweet spot.
Right.
We've all experienced it. With the new lenses, what I've noticed is they pop it on, they tighten it up, they're automatically playing because the sweet spot is now so wide. However, I can tell you over a long period of time, there is a little bit more weight on your face. And you can feel it right along the nose and your underneath your eyes. You don't
feel it right away. When you first put it on, you're like, wow, and then you start playing, and then you'll start to feel it like here. So our suggestion would be take the strap and then tighten it just a little bit,
a hair more
than what you used to, and that'll raise the HMD up and have it more comfortably on your face. You'll feel like it may be just a little bit too loose, but it's not. It actually is more comfortable on your eyes, and you don't have that. It's not as much pressure. Right. It relieves that pressure off your face, and things become much more stable for you. You don't feel like it's going to slip down. So just raise that strap just a little bit, and I think it goes a long way.
Right. Let's talk about fatigue, because this is one thing that we thought we were going to be experiencing is fatigue, headaches. Very surprised that 3 out of 4 of us, me, my son, my daughter, did not experience any eye fatigue. Myself and actually all of us should be wearing. My son doesn't wear glasses. He really should. His eyesight isn't 20/20, but he rarely wears his glasses. My daughter always wears glasses, and I am farsighted, so I can't see things in front of me. I haven't had to wear my glasses with the new lenses, but we have not experienced eye strain. We have not experienced fatigue. My wife, however, when she jumped into Skyrim, did experience like a motion problem. She did get a little bit of a headache, but she is also the type of person where if you even get her near a cruise ship, she will suffer motion sickness just by looking at the ship moving. I'm not making it.
Yeah, he's not making it up.
But my daughter's laughing. I'm not making it up. She'll get sick watching somebody get motion sick. So she's on the extreme. Like so it's But again, today when I put on my prescription glasses, because I was focusing on the barrel distortion, I was starting to get a headache with my prescription glasses. I think it's a matter of time before you get used to it. I can tell you that we don't even look at it. We don't even see it. So we don't experience the eye strain. We don't experience the sickness that everybody else has experienced. Did it take time to get used to? I'm sure at the very beginning,
not much.
We were focused on so many things. We were like, hey, did our field of view change? Or is the barrel distortion great? Hey, is this line on this pool table, is this really straight or does it curve a little bit? And then we started to really drill it down, and we're like, what are we doing? Why don't we just enjoy the game and not focus on it and see what happens? So in our experience, we have not had that.
Now, let me talk about my comfort for a second, because it differs from his.
His does differ.
Okay, so, and I want to thank whoever it was that pointed this out in the last thread, because it hit me. If you watch back to us comparing the old Vive with the old lenses to the ones with the gear lenses, a lot of people have picked up, and one person in particular said, doesn't it bother you that your cable is hanging off the right-hand side? And that day, when we had both of our Vives sitting there, Bob said, Bill, why don't you have the Velcro strap on your back of your headset?
It annoyed me as soon as I put it on.
Right.
Like, why do you have it like that?
Oh, I didn't know. I thought I did have the Velcro strap. Okay, so let me tell you, if you watch the first video we did, I said in my first video that I have a sensitive eye. My right eye is more sensitive than my left, because when I play with the Vive, my eye begins to hurt, and it literally at some point even starts to swell when I play with this. Here's what I discovered, and I want to thanks to another post who said
we should have wrote down these people's names.
Somebody had posted in Reddit, not the strap, that their right eye was bothering them after playing the Vive, after getting the DAS, the Deluxe Audio Strap. Then it hit me. That's when I began to have my issue, was when I had gotten the Deluxe Audio Strap. Here's a tip. We're going to jump over to the tip section, Randy. So on your deluxe audio strap, and if you do not put this Velcro strap in, and even if you do put this Velcro strap in, don't pull the wire tight and put the Velcro strap on the back. There's a little clip right here. Make sure, I'm going to do this in here. See how I'm pulling this wire up, pulling it over, and leaving some slack on this wire. By leaving slack on this wire, it's now not pulling on the right-hand side of the headset. What was happening was when I was wearing my Vive, because this wasn't tight enough, it was literally when I would move around or step on the cord, we all do that, it pulled the wire, pulled this over, and pulled the right side of my headset, making this wire taut and constantly putting pressure on my right eye, and that's what was causing it. After reading the post, I gave myself some slack here, tightened up the Velcro strap that came inside the box of the deluxe audio strap, and boom, it solved my problem.
Now, have you had issues with your right eye since?
Not since
the lens swap.
Since the lens swap, I have not had issues. Has nothing to do with the lens swap. It was strictly this wire being pulled in the back.
But swapping the lens made you realize what the issue was. So that
because when you swap, you start analyzing your gameplay and everything. So that's a pro tip. Make sure this wire, if you have the deluxe audio strap, make sure this has some slack here, and it'll be much more comfortable for you. Moving on to some tips. Any questions?
No, nothing else.
Okay, all right, moving on to some tips. When we did the mod, we were taking everybody's suggestions and running with them. So somebody mentioned rubbing alcohol, somebody mentioned using a hair dryer.
And a suction cup.
In our experience, this is what we recommend. If you're going to do the mod, we recommend using the suction cup method. And there is the point where the lens curves and then goes flat. It's the flat edge of the lens. We don't recommend using a hair dryer, or at least in our experience, we regret using a hair dryer.
It was a good idea.
Great idea. It made sense when we did it. We were like, oh, that makes sense. Let's try it.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
And maybe it is because we've had the Vive since launch date, but anybody who saw that last video, the adhesive that holds the lens actually pulled up with the lens. And if that becomes, I don't know how thick that adhesive is, but I can imagine that if that adhesive had pulled up completely,
you would have problems.
It would be an issue.
Especially if you wanted to revert back.
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't know if I would recommend the hair dryer method. It did help a little bit, but in the long run, I think with the adhesive problem, it may have been a mistake. Somebody also had mentioned using rubbing alcohol, taking a little bit of rubbing alcohol. We did that on Bill's mod on his Vive.
Yeah, if you watch back, we put alcohol on one lens and then used it to pop off. And then on the other lens, we did and we used the suction cup with the rubbing alcohol. And on the other lens, we simply just used the suction cup and an X-Acto blade.
Right. So if we're going to make a suggestion, and again, it's only our opinion. It's not worth anything. Get a suction cup that's small enough to grab the lens. Get an instrument that is flat, skinny, maybe not an X-Acto knife, and where the lens bends and then goes to the straight edge. On that corner, if you can get whatever it is small underneath that very, very corner. I'm not saying grab the edge. I'm saying get
right where the curve
is. That curve is, right? That flat part. If you can get under, the whole goal would be get down and then under the lens, and then just put a little bit of pressure to pop up.
Like
you're trying to get air between the lens.
Twerk it. Like don't
twerk it.
Like no, twerk it.
Oh, twerk it.
Yeah. So whatever you put in there, do a twist. So you're not like because if you do this, that's you're standing a chance of hitting the lens. If you put whatever instrument you're using to pry off the lens in, get it just slightly under the lens, and then give it a twerk while you're lifting with the suction cup, and it should pop right out.
Yeah, so that was the easiest method, and when we did like the second one, we were like, okay, that made it a lot easier. I probably a little bit of a struggle without the suction cup, but probably better than trying to heat it up with a blow dryer or using rubbing alcohol on it and getting rubbing alcohol down in between. I don't know how I don't know how many Reddit posts I've read where they took as much precaution as they could and and you're going and still got some kind of spots or debris on their
Yeah,
inside. I think it's inevitable. I
Yeah,
think it's
just
going
automatically, if you're planning on doing it, just automatically say, I'm gonna put some time aside to get the dust out and
Right.
clean it, because you may be popping that off a couple times to get the
And
dust
like
out.
the title says, if you're afraid of getting something in there, if you're afraid of seeing a spot that you can't get off, and that spot is going to be there forever because you're afraid of wiping and you're afraid of blowing or don't want to do the air can, the can of air method, don't do it.
Just don't
Just
do it.
don't do it. I wouldn't recommend advising other people that may want to try it not to do it, but you don't do it if you're intimidated by getting those things in there. It does take time, and you may be popping off the lenses 4 times to clean it out. And each time there's a possibility of removing adhesive. So if that is intimidating to you, if you just got your Vive, if you're thinking about doing a Vive Pro, and those are the things that you're afraid of, our recommendation is don't do it. Just don't do it. This mod is for the tinkers, the people that are not afraid. We went in knowing that there's a chance we're not coming back out with a good Vive, that we may be breaking a perfectly good Vive. So you have to go in going, okay, once I'm done, is my Vive going to be usable? Who knows? That's really the sense of what you have to look. That's what you have to look at when you do this. Now we jumped around topics. So Mandy, what was one of the topics that we had?
You had, let's see, you've touched on most of it.
Okay.
You talked about all the stuff for breaking the Vive, which is the knob, the nose rest, the adhesive, the scratching the lenses.
Sorry, we're looking over here to have it.
Barrel distortion.
Okay, barrel. Can we touch on barrel
let's
distortion for a
barrel
second?
distortion, size of things.
There are some tips though.
Okay, so let's talk. Well, we're going to discuss it, and then we'll listen to some tips. We stopped at version 3. We didn't do version 4.
And there's also another person that put out some barrel distortion fix as well.
And we haven't tried those. Version 3 has been really pretty good for the most part. We did notice that things are a little bit smaller, and we did notice that the controllers are a little bit smaller, and when you touch them, there's some separation. And some people have thrown out what they think is some fixes for that. Those things look like that they can be addressed in software issues. If you are doing something where it requires you to be so precise that when you're looking at it in VR and you're touching your controls and they have to click together, if you're playing something that needs to have that precision, don't do it. Again, don't do it. You may lose it. However, if you're playing a shooting game, for us, what was the one that stood out? Elite Dangerous. Elite Dangerous, when we started playing Elite Dangerous, we noticed already Elite Dangerous is known that your hands,
Elite Dangerous, your
hands look like children.
Yeah, even before.
Even before it. But then we noticed it was a little bit worse. But for us, we really didn't care because it was a problem already.
And when we say a little bit, I mean, again, you have to concentrate on it.
Right.
I mean, you literally have to take the controller. I mean, they'll touch in the game. Everything will function. It's not like we're saying, oh my God, in the game, like things don't join together. No, that's not the case. What we're talking about is the actual physical size of things compared to what it was in. For instance, if you took your controller and then you slowly lifted up your headset, does that controller exactly match the size of the controller?
And it does not.
And it is just a hair smaller. But that is, that's the lens. And I've even read that there is a number that you can change in that JSON file that you upload to the Lighthouse that will increase the size just a hair to accommodate for that.
And we're going to try that.
And we'll try that. There's things we haven't tried yet. But it's because there's a point where if things start bothering you that much, you know what I mean? And every time you put it on, you focus mainly on that thing, then, this may not be for you. I mean, like if you focus on that barrel distortion constantly,
I'll give you an example.
This may not be for you.
There was something that my son, we were playing golf, and Bill still doesn't know what we're talking about.
No, I don't, because I don't own the game.
My son and I were playing golf. We were playing the whatever that golf game is, and we were trying to get better at it, and we suck, by the way. And my son had pointed out something in the game, and he asked me if I noticed it, and I had not. So then I started playing 18 rounds, and I focused on what he was focusing on. And it started to bother me. And I'm like, oh, this is really starting to bother me. Now, ironically, I thought, okay, wait a minute. Why is this bothering me now that he mentioned it? And I remember that when we went into our first video, matter of fact, there's a inside the home, the VR home that your start screen.
Right, yeah.
You can download an environment that actually allows you to test your field of view. It allows you to test whether or not your distortion is really, really bad, your barrel distortion. Right. It's really well done. If you haven't downloaded it, grab it because it'll give you a sense of what you're really looking at. And I remember we didn't have that on our first video. What we did was we went into our home environment, we were using pictures, and we were going, okay, if you stand here, what are you seeing? And like for instance, field of view. Field of view for us didn't really change that much. As a matter of fact, we thought we gained a little bit of field of view, but some people are saying that they lost a little bit of field of view. But for our situation, we didn't see a difference in field of view.
Let's think about that for a second, because field of view really comes down to not just the size of the lens, but how close the lens are to you. So,
right.
So even though the Vive lens is a little bit bigger, it's further in, and because the gear lens is smaller but closer to you, it gives you a sense of a larger field of view, even though the lens is smaller. When you see posts on Reddit that the field of view is smaller, and they had to, switch it back because the field of, it could be so many different things. Did they use the one where you adjust it and then that changed your field of view, or do they have thicker cushions and that pulls your eye out further than the lens and that changes your field of view? So many different things. Our field of view, we literally had to go into a room and compare the old to the new to see if we truly lost field of view. And in our eyes, we didn't lose field of view. If we did, it was just not even noticeable. So field of view is not.
So the moral of my story is when my son brought it up and then I started to focus on it, and I thought it was an issue. And then I looked back at the original video that we made and I realized not only was it not an issue, but it actually was better than what we had on the original Vive. And I think what would happen is, for all those people that have switched their lenses out, we forget all the things that we didn't like about the lenses. And as soon as we put those things in, as soon as we switch them in, and the sweet spot becomes smaller, and we see a little bit of barrel distortion, because I see it in my prescription, we're going to think, oh, wait a minute, it was here. My field of view was already limited. So once you start focusing on it, you start to dwell on it. Just, as soon as we started comparing the two, it wasn't even an issue.
Now, I bet you're thinking, well, what was the issue? Here's the deal. I don't want to know what it was.
Because he hasn't seen it.
See, and that's the whole point of this conversation. He said, Bill, I found what could be an issue. And I was like, oh, really? And he goes,
by the way, it wasn't an issue. It ended up being not even
an issue. I'm like,
was an issue.
Do me a favor, don't tell me what it is, because I don't want to know. I'm having a great time in my Vive, and I don't want to concentrate on something that may not be an issue or could have been on the old lens, and we just never focused on it because now we're focusing on every little flaw.
Which ends up being the latter. That is exactly what ended up happening. It was a problem with the old lens, and we would have seen it regardless.
So, to be honest with you, I don't even know what he's talking about.
Okay, so what are some of the suggestions? So we have suggestions.
There's a lot of tips coming in.
I'm sorry, we're rambling, we're not listening. So here's some tips.
Let me go back up. So, when you guys were discussing the audio strap, fixing that, a lot of people were saying what they ended up doing was, this is Commander Payne, so thank you for this. He wrapped some electrical tape around the cable to prevent it from pulling.
That's a great idea.
Good idea.
Because even with the Velcro, it still strips a little bit.
Now, I'm assuming that he's wrapping the electrical tape closer to the back.
He says, hold on, he said exactly where.
Because let me tell you, that is a flaw with this.
It is to have the. Well, you can put this anywhere.
You would have to tighten this so hard, and it's impossible. It still slides.
Yeah, he said it's around the cord, so it can't slip and it stays.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a suggestion that I'm going to use because
because it does.
As soon as I fix it.
Yeah, anybody who has this, you know what we're talking about.
Let's see here. He also mentioned that another way, if you're worried about dust, this is for people who aren't doing or haven't done it yet, who are thinking about doing it and they're not afraid to do it. He got 0 dust on his lenses on the inside by filling up his bathroom for 15 minutes with steam
Yeah.
and then sitting in there.
Yeah,
Okay.
we did hear that a lot.
Yeah, I don't know if somebody can reply in chat whether you're hearing her okay or not, but yeah, there was a suggestion where you go in your bathroom, you fill your bathroom up with steam, you let it settle down, and then once the steam has evaporated, it's cooled down a little bit, all that dust is settled, and then that's a good place to actually swap your lenses, and I agree with that.
And
maybe
if
a
your
great place to do
bathroom
it.
is a you can it
Yeah, enough lighting
accommodates
and
those
everything like
needs,
that.
and you can go ahead and do it in your bathroom. Go for it.
But let me just say, based off of our experience, I don't think it was dust that actually got on the
it
screen.
wasn't.
I think it's when you're taking your whatever object you are and you're pushing underneath the lens, what you're doing is you're pushing some of the adhesive off, and that's landing on your screen.
And remember, 3D prints are really
They're
even
layers.
If you do 0.0100,
Which is
there's
what
still
we printed
layers.
at.
And we printed so much. We understand that you could, if you're not sanding, which I don't recommend sanding these. Hey, there's this Harry Potter one. If you don't sand them, there are going to be, that layer, because it's just a thin layer, and there's going to be little pieces that are going to tend to fall off. So whether it's PLA, or whatever type of, this is another funny thing I seen, and I'm not knocking the guy. Somebody posted how he had to remove his lenses because of the barrel distortion and a bunch of other things. And if that person is on tonight, please let me. You gotta speak up, because he posted a picture of his HTC Vive, and he had what looked like orange.
Pet G, wasn't it?
Yeah, it looked like he was using some sort of orange or red Pet G filament, which if anybody knows it, Pet G is like PLA and ABS mixed together. It's kind of like the best of both worlds. It's a great material, but Pet G is transparent.
Yeah, it's got some translucency.
And because it was red reflects light in a way where you're automatically almost going to get a lens flare.
I can't imagine what that would, my eyes focusing on
Right.
that.
So I can't. So when I see the picture of this, I questioned, well, was it the material that he used that caused the light to bounce back
just
and
another
forth?
variable.
Yeah. So I mean, there's so many. Recommended, if you can, try to match the material of the HTC Vive, which is a matte flat finish. It's not even glossy.
Yeah, look, this is Pet G.
This is Pet G.
I hope the light catches it.
If you see it, it's almost transparent. See, and it reflects light. In a way of, I'm trying to show it. It literally reflects light in a way that almost a lens does. If I bring this up to you, I don't know how this is going to reflect light, but that's going to play some havoc on your eye when it bounces light off the Pet G. So is Pet G a good material? It's not. I love Pet G. It's one of my favorite things to print with. But it's a very translucent, reflective material, when you just got to be careful with that. So, I saw that post and I was thinking, oh man, here's somebody who took it out, and could have took it out for just a bad reason. So just keep that in mind. All right, next one.
So a lot of people agreeing with you about the noticing a problem and then fixating on it. Doing some comparisons.
Yeah. You don't want to do that. You don't want to go in looking for problems.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then
I should have shaved.
Yeah, you look awful.
I don't know. That's the difference. Who are you talking about? Anyway, so one thing that people are bringing up is the face pads, and this is one of the things that you guys are going to bring up.
Face
now,
pads.
if you were using a 6mm face pad, you might lose a little bit of the field of
Yeah.
view because the face pad is different.
Right.
sizes.
And now we tested a couple. We actually before we threw away, when we disassembled our Gear VR, our goal, I don't even know why we're really concerned about taking it apart the correct way. Because
Really
we're
could have just
tossing it
assaulted
anyway.
it in half.
But we did keep the foam that came with the Gear
face pad.
VR. So, and that seems like it's a little bit thinner. It didn't work. It would need to be trimmed. But yeah, I mean, the face pad itself, if you pull yourself away from the lens, it is going to impact the field of view. And if you're having and it could be in a good way for some people. It could be in a bad way for some people. So if you have, a way of tinkering with the face pad, and you are having a problem with, distortion or, clarity, or you should try changing the face pad.
Yeah, for me, it would be ideal. I think this is the 6mm one that I have on here. For me, what I would like, it would be a thinner one, but thicker material.
Yeah, something
that's more firm.
Yeah, so it doesn't push so close to. Because even though this is a thick pad, it gives
quite a bit.
Quite a bit. I mean, if you think about the ones that are thinner, they may be thinner, but they don't give as much, and it doesn't push your face right up against.
So I may be switching over to the other
so
ones.
Ideally for us, what we would like to try is a pad that's thinner but doesn't push against the Vive casing itself.
Something much firmer.
Because some of you have reported, and even I have, if you position the Vive in the right way with the new lenses one and the 3D printed housings inside, you can actually feel them on your eyebrow.
Yeah.
If you position the headset in like the correct manner. That's why I'm suggesting actually lift it up a little bit, because it adds a little bit of comfort.
Yeah, but good suggestions on the face pad. We're going to swap ours out also, just for comfort. Right now, it's doing the job. We love it, but long periods of play, again, you'll feel it on your nose, you'll feel it under your eye, and that's because I think this face pad has just so much play in it. So, there's so much cushion that I want something a little bit firmer to this, and that's what I'm switching to. Mandy, any other suggestion?
Just double checking here. Let's see here. No, everything else was just about the setups. And then with them just talking about what you guys already talked about.
All right.
If you wanted to go down the list some more,
yep.
You've addressed the barrel distortion. Comfort, did you guys hit everything you wanted to talk about?
Comfort-wise, what I've noticed is that when people in my house are switching back and forth now, they're adjusting this more than what they used to, this top, because they want to take that weight, because it is an additional little bit of weight.
It's not much.
It's not much.
When you first put it on, you don't notice it, but over time, you'll start to feel.
But I only notice it if they're doing like long sky run,
hours
of gameplay. They'll adjust the top. I'll see them adjust the top. I only ever see them once. And I got to tell you, there is something nice about putting on the headset, flipping it on right away, and then start to play, because it's like, oh my God, everything is just so clear. You just jump right in. But notice so far, we're giving everybody the reasons why you should not do this.
That's right. We
and all the downsides.
All the things you shouldn't do.
So all the Redditors out there that are saying, don't do it, we agree. You should not do it.
Right.
I can't stress enough that you are right, and everybody who's probably done this mod will tell you the same. If you are saying these are the reasons why you shouldn't do it, then you are correct. You should not do it. You should not modify your Vive. All right, that would be our suggestion. Yep. We posted it time and time again in people's threads. Listen, this is our opinion. We recommend you don't do it if that is a concern, especially if you're in the middle of a Unity project. If we were actually we were building a really nice, we were 90% done a game that we were developing. I would not continue developing that game in Unity with the lenses.
No,
the new lenses in there.
No, because there's a couple of reasons. One, you want to make sure what I personally, if I was making the game for myself, I would have no problem continuing to use this with Unity. But I, as a developer, would want to make sure that the experience that I see is the experience that 99% of the people have.
Exactly. And if it came down to precision, and because those
Right.
are a little bit smaller, then this may not be the headset modified that
Right.
you want to do a project in. If you're not really working with a project and you're not developing, then, that's one less thing that you have to worry about. I think we covered a majority of what's on our list. There was a couple things. We want to get to the highlights. But I think we've gotten through some of the things
that generated the title, Don't Do It.
that made us say, don't do it. And it was, Reddit is a hate-love relationship.
It's a great,
I love Reddit. I love Reddit because it's a community where everybody's not afraid to share their opinion. And again, we have no dog in this fight. We could care less what horse wins the race. We're giving you our honest opinion on what we have done and what we recommend.
Right.
I went in knowing that I may not come back out with a working Vive. We didn't want anybody else screwing up their Vive. So again, don't do things just because we're saying this was our experience and it was a good experience if you're hesitant in doing it, which is the reason why we titled the video what we did. Don't do it because we're hoping that somebody is going to, because it's very easy for us to turn around and say, hey, listen, this is awesome.
It's the best
this
thing
is
in the
our
world.
experience.
You
This
have
is
to do it."
beautiful. It changed the world. I mean, we're going out in the streets and we're screaming to everybody. No. We want to say precaution. These are the things you're going to see. And if these things are a worry, then don't do it. Don't take a blade or a screwdriver to your very expensive HMD. That's what we're saying. So let's move on to the good things.
Yeah, let's
All right.
look at
Now,
the pros.
are Bill and myself's HMD still modded?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I'm not changing that.
Would we take the lenses out? Hands down, as of today,
No.
that is not happening. It is not happening. We did our pros and we did our cons list, and I can tell you the pros list completely outweigh the cons for us. For us, they outweigh the cons. Number one.
So, but that's being said, if you're afraid of doing the mod for the reasons we previously discussed, again, don't do it. But if the reasons we previously discussed you're not afraid of, and your fear is the experience of what you're going to see when you put these lenses on, do it. If you don't have those fears of tinkering with your Vive and or
Modifying
it, or
it.
but you're worried about you're on that fence. I've read this, I can't tell you how many times. I have all of the equipment, and now somebody's saying it doesn't work.
I want to
the way it
watch
does.
one more video because somebody just said this doesn't work.
This doesn't work, or the field of view isn't right, or the distortion is so bad it gives me nausea, or so now I'm holding off doing the Vive. Well, those posts drive me crazy because you just invested in your gear. You had it in your head that you were going to do it, and now you're going to let somebody else say, "Hey, it's not working for them for this reason." What doesn't work for some person, may work for somebody else. If it's the experience that's holding you back, don't let the experience hold you back. Don't let what you might see in the headset hold you back. Because we're going to tell you that what we see in the headset is a lot different than what we previously seen in the headset. And it is night and day to us. It is night and day.
Okay, so the first thing is clarity, and we did mention this, but there is something about putting on a Vive, and I don't think the Vive Pro users, and there's many people probably in the chat, one of you is probably a Vive Pro user. Even with a Vive Pro at its price point, I don't think that you can slap it on and then immediately have a sense of immersion where it's clear. There's no there's no sweet spot that you have to really focus into right away. You can literally pop this on and really quickly start to play a quick game. You can actually start playing while you're adjusting your headset, which I've never experienced on the Vive.
Right.
I've never been able to do that. The clarity, I know. Oh my. My girl Billy did the Billy. The clarity is amazing. Now, when you're playing something like Elite Dangerous, or if you're in big screen, and you're doing things like that, and we have another channel, YouTube channel where we actually sat in big screen, and most of our wrap up videos were done in big screen. And it was a little bit. It was exhausting working in big screen, especially when you're trying to move around in screens and you're trying to click on this and you're trying to move the text up and you're trying to, you literally had to make sure that everything was in your field of view so that when you looked and you turned your head, it would land in the sweet spot, not in your field of view.
And our experience in big screen may vary from yours because we had it set up where we were using it as a studio where we had a camera facing us and we had a screen in front of us that the camera could see, but then we had a screen to the right of us that the camera could not see so that we can glance over, go over talking points or
read some notes.
Anything we wanted to discuss was off of that. So when the camera was off of one person's view, the other person, with this, you can literally just glance down. You're not doing this. So when
this is what we were doing.
Yeah.
Moving the head like this.
Picking it up, moving it.
Because the sweet spot was so narrow. But you didn't realize how much of this, like this movement that you were doing, in order to get that sweet spot. It is nice to be able to just look.
Just look, and it's there.
Now, is there still is there a barrel distortion still on the outer edge? Yes, and in 9 days, I can tell you that if I even forget it's there. I don't even know it's there.
I forget about it.
There was more barrel distortion on my prescription glasses today than there was on my Vive. So version 3 for me was great. It almost made barrel distortion a non-issue at my house, but again, it may vary with other people. So now field of view, again, for me, not an issue.
Not an issue.
You don't even, if you did lose a little bit field of view, you don't even see it. Again, comfort-wise, there is a comfort issue, but there was a comfort issue even with the strap because you were constantly moving the HMD to get the, your sweet spot narrowed in. But for this right now, until I want to upgrade the this padding here because I think if it was a little bit firmer, it would be a little bit more comfortable. But it hasn't stopped us. My son had played, I think, a 6-hour session of Onward. We have played day sessions of Skyrim. We played last night 4 hours or something, 4 or 5 hours of table tennis.
Yeah,
11 table tennis.
I just couldn't put for something. I just couldn't put it down.
And let me tell you another thing about table tennis. Here's another thing. When we did the mod, we went into pool. We went into I forget what they call it now.
It used to be called VR pool. Now it's called something else.
Something VR. And when we went
sports
in,
something.
Sports bar, sports something. And then when you went in, we started to really focus on the table and the barrel. And then when we did the upgrade for the barrel distortion fix, it kind of fixed that
we literally used that sports bar VR or pool, VR pool, whatever you want to call it. We used that to adjust the barrel distortion. So we knew based on the pool table whether we had fixed it or not on version 3.
Now, was it completely eliminated?
No, it wasn't completely eliminated.
Okay, fast forward to last night on our table tennis 5-hour event. Table tennis is played with the table.
It's a flat
in front of you. I forgot that there was the barrel distortion wasn't completely eliminated because I wasn't focused on it. But you're talking about a flat table that you're playing in front of the whole time. And it was a 4 or 5 hour session and it wasn't an issue. So for us, playing long sessions, not an issue. Clarity, amazing.
Yeah.
Sweet spot, wide open. I forgot that there is... Oh, God rays. Can we talk about God rays for 1 second?
You don't realize how God rays impact your game. And we were lucky because we had an unmodded Vive and a modded Vive in the same room.
Which was one of the reasons why we decided to do live streams, was because we had an advantage of 2 Vives sitting in the same room.
When God rays hit the lens, it does distract your viewing, and it takes away from the immersion. It really does do that. It doesn't add to the game. It takes away from the game. Certain games present a lot of God rays, and Elite Dangerous is one of them. If you start swinging your ship to a sun that's off to your right, the God rays would actually, you'd have to sometimes just move your ship to get rid of the God rays so you can, start seeing things, and it didn't, because it bothers you. It really does bother you. These lenses have like no God rays whatsoever.
It's amazing. Like when you're playing a game like Skyrim and you're looking up at the sky and you're looking at the moon and the light post and all the things in the distance, you forget that those God rays were an issue, and you start to appreciate like little things like audio shield. Look, can we just say that here's what we found ourselves doing. We found ourselves reliving our library.
Yeah, we did. I went through Audio Shield is a perfect example, because my wife does not play the Vive that often, and she's a big Audio Shield fan. Before we came over here, I put her in Audio Shield, and I was like, "Babe, want to get your impressions on Audio Shield before we come do this stream tonight?" And she put it on, and right away, we experienced what Bob was talking about earlier. She was adjusting her head. She was like, "Oh, this is clear," but I had to take the strap and pull it up for her so that the headset was comfortable. As soon as I did that, she was like, "Oh, keep it right there," and the head strap wasn't pulling on her face. She started playing Audio Shield, and she said to me, "I never noticed that there was stuff down at the bottom." And here's the reason why this is happening. Because in Audio Shield with the old lenses, you focus on these balls that come down in different colors, and the balls are you have to literally you literally end up keeping your head straight, and you move your hands to hit the balls. But because the field of view is here and everything below it starts to get very distorted, you don't really see what's down at the bottom of the screen. And for her, when she put it on, she was able to see everything that was in the bottom part of her lens, and she started realizing the things that were happening on the floor of Audio Shield. She didn't know that stuff was happening before, because she kept her head so straight and concentrated on her balls that her eyes wouldn't move, because in the old headset you couldn't, if you moved your eyes it would just get distorted.
Right.
But now you can use your eyes. You can literally keep your head straight like she plays. She's not one to move around. She keeps her head straight, but she can now move her eyes down, and she was able to focus on the stuff below, and everything became much clearer for her. So Audio Shield for her, she was like, "Wow, this is great. I love this." So even for her, it was a complete different experience. But that's what you experience in a lot of games. You start going back.
You really do. I got to tell you, there's a couple things that stood out for me. Like The Lab, one of the oldest games. I think The Lab was the first game that I launched in VR. And that was one that I appreciated when those balloons were flying and I'm zapping them with lasers. I'm like, oh my God, VR is here. Mm-hmm. It's finally here. You appreciate it. There's a game in The Lab, I forget what it's called, but these little ships are flying around. And it was so funny because I played it and you told me to play
the arcade one.
The arcade one. And I went, and you said you have to play it. It's a new experience.
Go back into the arcade. It's a whole new experience.
And I went and I played it and I went, this game is fantastic. It doesn't even feel like the same game. And then I'm sitting down with my daughter, I think it was last night or the night before, and she was like, "Dad, I ended up going back in the lab." It was this morning.
Just a couple minutes ago.
What? Wow, really?
Yeah, it was right after dinner.
I'm freaking getting old.
You are getting old.
It was today. And she had mentioned the same game. She said it was terrific.
No, we didn't even talk before that.
Yes, so you didn't discuss it.
We didn't discuss it ahead of time. She had mentioned it to me, and I'm like, oh my God, I just went in there and I just played that myself. It's a completely different experience. Now let's move on to something like the Blue.
Oh my God, the Blue. They should rename that game The Blew Me Away. Because that literally, Dude, I am telling you, when I jumped into the blue and
we've used the blue that's the game where when people come over, you go, okay, let me put you in an experience.
Right,
let's put you in the blue.
It's a one-time thing. You go into it, you go, oh, that was great, and then
the
you never
whale's
do it
terrific.
again. We went into it again, and I did the whale, and I did the nighttime scene where all the things come out at night, and
you're holding the flashlight.
And you're holding the flashlight, and let me start with the whale. The whale, something happens in the whale, and I didn't experience it before, and I experience now. And by the way, we have not had that issue where things are not in 3D. Like we see
you
this
lose the
post,
perspective where everything's flat.
Yeah,
we don't have that.
We don't have that. Everything is still in the same depth, for at least us anyway. So, in the blue, a big whale comes around you and then swims out, and as he swims out, his tail comes swooping over, and with the old lens, you were like, oh crap, and you kind of looked away, and the whale's tail just like kind of scares you a little bit the first time you see it. When I did it with this lens, I never realized this, but when the whale swims his tail over, it presents a wave of water that comes across you and literally lifts up the back of the boat where the nest is.
Which you do catch in the old lenses.
But you don't see it. You know it's happening. You knew something happened, and then you turn your head and you
caught the last end of it.
Because but what I'm telling you is now, when that whale does it, you can just, you're watching it and you see it happening.
Out of your peripheral vision.
Because you can now look with your eyes instead of your head. So now you don't have to, oh my God, something's happening behind me, and turn your head. You could just turn your eye and you see it happening. And that, to me, throws a whole new dimension into having the VR, when you can use your eyes to look instead of just using your head.
Right.
That opens up a whole new area, and games become another thing. When we went in where the robot, you have to pull the robot out.
In the lab.
In the lab, where you pull the robot out. You all know what we're talking about. I'm sure everybody's done it. You pull the robot out. Bob and me both noticed the same thing, and that's when you pull the robot out, the lettering that's on the back of the robot was so crisp and clear.
It's the manufacturer information.
Robot repair.
Yeah, robot repair.
Yeah, when you pull it out, you know it's something is there.
Right.
On the old lenses,
and you can look at it,
and you can go up to it. You can look at it. You can go, oh, okay, that's really, really cool.
Yeah, that's kind of cool, and you can kind of read it. You kind of read it. But when we did this the other night and we pulled it out, it was mind blowing, because everything was such crisp detail, and you, out of your eye, you were like, oh my God, what does that says this?
And actually, you could read every little bit of the manufacturer detail, and it wasn't visible.
And it was just like, when you're pulling it out, like things from here to here become clear instead of like here, and then you have to move over to here or move over to here to see it. It's just extends your field of view.
Experience.
So,
and another thing, and this is gonna show me being a little girl. Can we talk about horror games for a second?
Okay, we're big horror fans.
Okay, if you're a horror fan and you like games like A Chair in the Room and paranormal activity and those type of games, Don't Knock Twice. We have all these games. I jump back into Paranormal Activity, and I have to tell you, like, there's a scene where you're walking up and it's dark and you're outside. And you have a flashlight that
it's not a spoiler.
It's the first thing you have to do. I mean, they make you do this, thing, and then you walk up to a house, and the house is well lit, and in the background, I can tell you that scene was a lot different with the new lenses. But I can tell you that when I got to that house, one of the things that there's a note on the door, and the note kind of guides you and asks you to look for a key, and you have a flashlight. And I remember with the before the modification, it took me a little bit of time moving around this porch area to hunt down the key, but I knew it should have been there. But because I had to keep focusing on certain areas, it took a little bit of time. That key stood out right away. Like as soon as I turned my head, you could see the key glitter, and I was like, oh wow, that is really. And also, let me just say, this is really, I wish I had, I'm going to hold this up, by the way, this is 3D printed. Don't judge me, it's a Ouija board. This is like, here's a Ouija board, this got letters on it. If I were playing with the old lenses, this is what I would have to do. I would have to hold it up like this. I'm hoping I'm doing this justice. I would have to hold it up like this, and then I would have to move it and read it and go, okay, and then move it up a little bit more if it was long. I literally pick up pages now and just hold it up and I start reading from top to bottom without hesitation because everything is so legible and the clarity makes the game so much more of a pleasure to play than it does without the lenses. Sure, there's a little bit of barrel effect, but for me, because I don't even look for it any longer,
you don't notice it.
It's not even an issue. I mean, it's the pros for us is so different. It's so different. Now, another thing that we had on our list is maybe because we are fortunate enough to have 1080i cards, or 1080 cards, that, you know, maybe that plays a factor. And
it could. I mean,
some people that may have lower video cards may not have the same experience with the lenses. I couldn't tell you. Maybe that is the case. So maybe when somebody is saying, hey, you know, I didn't have such a good experience with, you know, the new lenses. I don't know if a video card would even play a factor in it, but we're using 1080 cards, and you know, but I don't see how.
No.
It could. We just wanted to throw that out there that we have 1080 cards, and you know, clarity. You know, we can bump the graphics up a little bit higher.
I can't think of a single game that I played that wasn't more enjoyable now than it was when I first played it.
Yeah, neither can I.
And again, this is just, you know, our opinions. Every game I picked up was more enjoyable than when I went back and just started playing everything. I mean, just everything, and everything, you know, because you could see it, you're like, wow, that's just, I never, and it keeps coming up. I never noticed that. I never noticed that. I never noticed that. And that's because, you know, that narrow vision spot, you know, it's not field of view because you could still see everything.
Right.
But the distortion on the old lens, there's a clear spot in the middle, and then it distorts very quickly.
It's so blurry.
And then, but these lenses, it's almost as clear up until the very edge of the lenses, and then that's where your distortion comes in. But it's at the very edge of the lenses, but you gain so much before that even becomes a factor. It's not even fun.
Yeah. Anything on chat that we're missing?
There was, going back a little bit here, hold on. One person says, don't look through the new lenses without the distortion correction, so that way you don't know what the flaws look like before the fix.
That's a very good idea.
Yeah, I read your post, by the way, because I think you posted that on Reddit, and I totally agree. If you're going to do the mod, do the barrel distortion fix. At least version 3 seems to be really good for most people.
There is a version 4. We haven't tried it yet. Version 3. It's pretty.
I am going to try version 4 and see what happens. It flips
back. You can switch it back.
But I totally agree with that. Before putting it on, do the barrel distortion fix and then put it on so that you don't know that the issue even exists and you're not looking.
We purposely did not do that so we can experience what everybody else was talking about.
Jaron said, this is the guy that set the original thing, so thank you, Jaron, that he actually switched his lenses back real quick just to see if there was a difference. And he said he could see a difference in scale slightly, but totally not worth going back. The calibration will likely get better, but even now, it's definitely not good enough to go back.
Yeah, that's exactly how we feel. And I think I did read your post on Reddit as well. Because I believe you're the one that asked if we were going on tonight, or what was our change on the title. Why are we now not recommending it? We are not recommending it.
Oh, the reason why, and Bill actually debated me on the title. He was like, don't title that way.
Bob, don't title it that way.
And I'm like, Bill, I'm not titling it as I'm not bait clicking anybody. I want people to see this. If they're going to search YouTube, I want people to see a video that says, don't do it for these reasons. Just don't do it, so that they're not taking everybody who has great experience with it and saying, you're lying. Right. You're giving us false hope. You're really just playing into the Reddit hype. No, it's not. That's not the case. Yeah. They're just giving their experience, and their experience just happens to be a good one. If you had a bad experience, thanks. That's what Reddit is all about. Right. Share that bad experience. But if you haven't done it,
But
then don't tell somebody else that they're actually just hyping up the community.
Right.
That's not our goal. Our goal wasn't to hype up the community.
No,
our goal was
to
just to
the
share
experience.
our experience, good or bad. And we wanted to front end this with all of the bad stuff so
Right.
that you do not do it if you're hesitant. That's it. That's really the point of the video.
Hold on, I think we might have lost speed.
All right. There's other comments, but if you,
I
I'm
think we lost the video is what I'm saying.
oh, okay.
Either that or I lost internet connection. Hold on.
Sorry, we don't know if we're still
It says we're still live.
okay.
Okay, hold on.
So okay, sorry. We thought
okay,
we
sorry.
lost.
It must
Um,
have been my end here.
Yeah, okay. We just we thought we went off, but
Sorry, guys. Sorry.
False alarm.
Yeah, I suck. So, what?
She's got stuff.
Another thing that Jaren said is one thing that some people might not be noticing is when you're keeping your eyes centered, with the barrel distortion thing, it might actually be part of the reason why some people feel that 3D is lost because they're seeing the details inside of the HMD because they aren't keeping their eyes mostly centered. So that's something that he thinks. And another person says it's because the sweet spot is larger, people are moving their eyes more in the scene and keeping them centered, you're more likely to, which is what you're more likely to do with the stock Vive.
yeah,
So-
and that's the thing because in the old one, you know, you knew to keep your eyes straight. Like you knew mainly that moving your head was the way to keep that sweet spot centered. Move your head, and like you'd get a better experience out of your Vive if you kept your eyes straight and then moved your head to accommodate for the distortion out on the edge. Now with this, you have like you can, and maybe this is what causes people to have nausea, because you know it's like when you're looking. You know how the games recommend don't turn, like if you're using the locomotion where you're turned and move your head at the same time. Maybe this is where people are experiencing their nausea, where you can turn and now look at the same time, and maybe that plays with people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because they're not used to.
They're not used
looking.
to being able to, move your eye as you're moving your head. And I've done it. Like we were playing ping pong last night, and I literally thought it was my serve, and I had my hand.
Oh my God, this was the funniest.
I had my hand down like this, and I swore Bob hit the ball. I'm thinking I'm serving. Bob hit the ball. It came flying past me real quick, and it freaked me out because I thought I was serving, and a ball came whipping real past me, and it shocked me, and I was like, what just happened? Because I literally thought it was my serve. We were dying laughing because I just stood there like, did you? Because I didn't see it went so fast past me.
There is nothing funnier than watching somebody's avatar of their HMD like freak out. Like you can just tell the emotion based off of the avatar. So all I'm seeing is this like, what just happened? Like he's just looking around like I don't understand.
Oh, we should have recorded it. It was so
It
funny.
was hilarious. So so little things like that. I think you're right. I think it's because you're moving
Your eyes, and maybe that causes people to get a little nausea, and might take a little time to get used to.
Right.
We've had our Vive since the beginning. There's things that don't bother me as much. I love flight simulators. Some people just can't stomach flight simulators.
Well, let me just say, before I got my Vive, I was afraid of heights. Definitely afraid of heights. I could get up on my roof to decorate for Christmas. I could not get down. It was an event for the whole neighborhood to watch. Now I can get down off the ladder, no problem whatsoever. And if I do Richie's plank experience, when I first got that, I could not turn around off of that piece of wood. But now I can just walk off the piece of wood. So
nothing to do with the lenses. That was
it's just how you get used to it. You get used to the way it moves, and when you first get it, you get sick all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, I got to get used to it. A lot of people say, okay, I have my VR legs going in order to play VR, but you just get used to it. And I'm sure if this was the lenses that everybody started with, there probably wouldn't be a debate because everybody would be seeing it through the same lenses.
You kind of wonder if they shipped out these lenses with the Vive, and everybody was using these lenses, and then somebody posted, hey, you should switch to, and then gave the Vive lens.
For whatever device that was
I
in.
guarantee you the Reddit post would be off the charts with negative, because to go from this back to the Vive lens is a traumatic difference.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
I'm not talking, when we say that, remember that we are talking from people that had Vives next to each other, one without the lens and one with the lens. This wasn't a false memory where you were remembering what you think you had in the old lens. This is looking at picking up one lens, putting it on, picking up another one, putting it on, picking it back up, putting it on, picking it back up, literally looking at things, you know, and trying to be truthful about it. I mean, and it was, trust me, once you, if this lens works for you, I can't imagine you want to go back to the old Vive lens. I really can't.
So I think we've taken way more of their time, but the reason why we jumped back on is because we wanted to go a week and play our games and give you an update on what we thought. And because some people were reporting they were switching back, some people were reporting that they weren't. And then we figured, you know what? Let's give our honest review. We always did. We always will. If something sucks, we're going to let you know. As of right now, I still have something inside my Vive lens. I have to
I got
this
specs.
off,
I got to clean.
and I have to clean. It's ironic that if I would have bought the Vive that way, I would have been sending that crap back.
Right.
I would have been like, this is not acceptable. So far yet, I keep forgetting to take it off because I've been playing it so much, and I forget it's even there. I forget the thing is even there. It just doesn't focus on. I have to fix my headset. I can't even rotate it and bring my HMD, the focal point out any longer because this is not working. I haven't stopped playing to even do that. To me, the Vive switch of the lenses from the stock to the GearVR has been a no-brainer. And for everybody in my household, when I asked them, guys, is there anything that you think that is blocking us or should we switch back? The immediate response is no. No, everything is so much clearer.
I wouldn't switch back.
My daughter's experience is that she believes that she's getting, because of the better clarity, she's actually thinking that it actually enhanced when she's doing things like her using a bow and arrow. She can take longer shots. She can hit somebody from a further distance. Because she can see them. From
And she wears glasses,
distance.
by the way. Do you not?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so
Constantly. It's a burden.
yeah, so I mean, you can wear glasses with the. I mean, it's not as comfortable as the old one, but you know, Mandy. I mean, you play it. How many hours have you put in?
I haven't put as many hours as everybody else.
Right.
You know, due to school and work. But
You want to come over here so they can hear you? No, Mom? I don't know if you want to be on camera. So here's my daughter Amanda.
let me
She's got a limbo underneath the wire.
I can just unplug it now. So set up here just so you know. Video feed.
I got you.
Topics. Okay.
Go.
So hi. So my thoughts were with the lenses and my glasses. It is still a snug fit for the most part, but it's not as bad as it was when we first did it. Now I think because I've adjusted the top head strap to kind of fit better with my head, it's definitely, I don't feel it touching my glasses the way I did when we first started to do it. So that's always a good thing. I definitely feel, I see the clarity just the way that I normally would with anything else. This is one of the points that one of the other guys, I think Joe, brought up just a minute ago, and that we keep bringing up, and this is something that I said from day one when we did the mod. It's exactly like wearing new glasses when you first put them on. Now that I put it on, I'm so used to everything that I don't see the barrel distortion. I don't think about the God rays. I don't think about anything else. And I couldn't imagine going back to the way it was because it's just going to be a downgrade at that point.
Yeah.
And Joe is saying that he's stuck with the 2020 and he's still using the original stock phone pads, and he wears glasses also.
Oh,
Yeah.
so
So even his experience.
So yeah, because
was the
I've
same
read
way.
that a bunch of people said you can't wear. There's it's funny. There's people that will make like blanket statements. You cannot wear glasses with these lenses in. It's just not the case. I mean, you're talking about two people right here that were Joe and Mandy wears glasses when she plays it. Just adjust the strap to accommodate for it.
Just to even just show you, like, I can put it on right now and it's perfectly fine.
Yeah, I mean, just
So-
adjust the strap so it works for you, and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
You'll be fine.
So, and then I don't know if you guys want to do like a rundown of all the games as I took off my glasses.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
So that also happens, just FYI. If you do wear glasses with them, sometimes, I guess because my glasses are kind of loose, they do sometimes stick into the thing because of the foam head pads, because it does feel like it's snug against that, but that's just my thing.
So we play VR pool.
Mm-hmm.
We just did the table tennis one, 11.
Yeah.
Right.
Golf, Skyrim.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just going over these titles to let you know, we put in like hours into these titles.
Mm-hmm.
So not just the lab. Bob, name off the games.
Oh my God.
Audio Shield.
Audio Shield. Elite Dangerous.
Onward.
Onward. Elite Dangerous. Don't knock twice. The chair in a room. Chair in a room was a whole nother experience.
Did you do American Truck Simulator?
American Truck Simulator is like, for those of you who like American Truck Simulator, it does have like looking at the your front panel of your truck now becomes even more visible. Which, if you know anything about American Truck Simulator, they stopped supporting VR way back when they first launched it. So what we got is what we got. So any enhancements to American Truck Simulator, we have to kind of do ourselves via like things like these mods, or adjusting the your video card, getting a higher video card. So. If you have a 1080 card and you do this mod, even American Truck Simulator is even going to be better. So,
Project Cars.
Project Cars was played a lot.
I just booted up Windlands today, which, if you don't know, that's one of the ones where you have like, it's almost like a Spider-Man type game where you have to like monkey climb with like these slingshot type things. You have like these hooks that grab onto the like bushes and trees and stuff, and so you're flying through the air with that, which takes a little bit of getting used to with motion sickness and stuff. But that was a drastic improvement, I thought. Yeah,
climbing. I jumped into, and of course Paranormal Activity. We played a lot of. Paranormal Activity was, I don't know. There's some reason, horror games become even more horrifying, because now you've got like. When you hear that noise and you see that shadow, now you see the shadow. You know what I'm saying? Off of your peripheral vision, you can look over and you're like, wait a minute, what was that? And you see more of that. So horror, it's like a notch up with horror games. It becomes even more. I was walking in a hallway. I don't know. I forget whether it was Don't Knock Twice or Paranormal Activity, and I noticed that there was dust, and it looked like little orbs coming off of the ceiling. And they would disappear because I was holding a candle. And in this part of the game, you normally hold the candle. And with the old Vive lens, you focus on the candle. I never noticed there was dust coming down off of the ceiling. And that's because now you can kind of see this area. And I seen the dust falling off. And I was like, I never noticed the dust before. And it's because the candle, normally, that's where your vision in the old eyes stopped. And in order for you to see the dust, you would literally have to stop and look up. Why would you look up? I have no idea. But now you can see kind of around you. So it's that kind of experience that gets enhanced when you have these lenses. So, yeah, we played a ton of games. We're not just talking about one or two games that we played. We went through a lot of games, and we're going to go through a lot more games. And if you have any suggestions of games you want us to try with the lens, we'll be more than happy to try it.
Jaron actually said that the clarity for him at some points becomes to the point where he can actually see the pixels of the image, like, because and yes. I have seen and that. He said he's used to it.
Here's and here's how you can tell. In the lab, when you're shooting the bow and arrow game in the lab, look at the balloons with the new lenses in, and you can now see all the squares that make up the balloons. With this one, you can literally see in detail how clear the squares are in the balloons. It's not pixel. I'm not talking about pixelizations. I'm talking about that's how the balloons shaped were made up, were squares, and now you can see that. So you're absolutely correct.
Did you want to switch back then?
Andy has said that things become instantly incredible when playing games in the mod, which I agree. You instantly think Skyrim, stock Skyrim, vanilla Skyrim. Yeah, we can switch.
Hold on, before you do that.
Yeah, can we talk about vanilla Skyrim, or is that?
One thing I was going to say was one thing we just had this discussion. before we hopped onto this, was the 3D. Some people were complaining about the 3D, and the discussion that I had with Dad was, I feel I don't notice the 3D, what people are complaining about.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that.
To me, I forget that I'm in a 3D environment right now. I'm so immersed when I'm in that game that it almost feels like real life in certain aspects, aside from the fact that I'm holding something constantly.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when I get out of Skyrim, I keep going, oh crap, I'm not in Skyrim anymore. It's kind of sad. Like, I wish I was still there, aside from Lydia being butt ugly and jump scaring me every time I go to a cave. But aside from that, I feel completely immersed constantly. And I feel more immersed now than I did previously. So that was going to be one of the things that I was going to say. But what was your thing about Vanilla Skyrim?
Vanilla Skyrim, when you play Vanilla Skyrim, what I notice is that when he mentions the pixels, being able to point out the pixels, you actually see that in Vanilla Skyrim. If you don't mod the crap out of it, once you start modding it to today's standards and you start putting on
the 4K,
new meshes and all the 4K,
mapping,
then you really start to go, wow, that's really good. But Vanilla Skyrim, because the game is dated, and you're enhancing the game with the lenses, you really do start to really focus in on the pixel.
Yeah,
and everybody's mentioning the new Pimax that's coming out.
Yeah, Pimax.
Is it Pimax? Pimax, right?
Yeah,
Pimax.
It's Pimax. And
which I'm looking forward to.
Drawbacks to the
but I'm
Pimax.
looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, you got the 8K, but I mean, in order to get that 8K, you've got to have a powerful machine. And it's just like the Vive Pro. You repost, I read it all the time. When I get the Vive Pro, I get it, to be perfectly honest with you. The only thing that I could see myself utilizing the Vive Pro for would be the dual cameras, because I'm going to suspect, after looking at the real-time mapping of environments that I've seen, and AR becoming, there was a period of time when Google Cardboard came out where I was actually, we were developing AR, and it's corny enough, but for my wife on Valentine's Day, I went and shot video of all of her family members wishing her a happy Valentine's, and I just gave her a card. But what she didn't know was in the gear, because we've had our GearVRs, when she put on the gear and looked at the card, flowers would start to grow up around the card, and hearts and everything would start showing up, and the video would play in the card, and she could move that card anywhere in the real room. It's in augmented reality. Literally, you kind of wonder why, Vive, in that sense, took a step back. Right. Because there is a camera on here, but you don't see any augmented reality type stuff. And I know it's possible because we were doing that on our Samsungs at the time, and that only has one camera on the front. It's not like a dual camera thing. So I suspect that the Pro version will do a lot more with augmented reality in the future and mapping of real spaces. But until that happens, I don't see any reason to get the Pro. I mean, I'm not knocking the Pro. It's just too expensive at this point. I mean, they really
it's suitable for some people, but it's just. You got to justify the price, and
if you got all the money, then go for it.
But the Pimax is supposed to be, it's going to be really good, and that should be. I mean, to see what these lenses are doing, and then they go with an upgraded screen with the upgraded resolution. That's going to be.
I hope it lives up to that.
Like so do I. But Reddit will tell us. All right. Well, we went as way longer than what we done. So it's an hour and a half.
Wow.
All right. So let's summarize. Don't do it if you don't think you should do it. If you're afraid, don't do it. If you're going to think you're going to jack something up, don't do it. Just don't do it. All right. But for us, we're glad we did it. It was a no-brainer for us. We're not going to go back. For the people that post on Reddit and say, hey, this was a great experience, we have to agree with them. It was a great experience. We know that they get downvoted. We know they get trashed. We know some people will jump in and go, no, you're just creating hype around it. Well, if they're anything like us, we have never been those type of guys who just log into Reddit to create hype. As a matter of fact, as much as Bill debated me on titling what I titled, I did it for a reason, to tell those people, just don't do it. Watch the video and go over everything. I got to take my crap apart and fix it. Go over all those things, and if one of those things you're afraid of, don't do it. For all of us that have done it, and we're experiencing what we're experiencing, it's for us, it's a huge plus.
And please don't be a naysayer if you haven't tried it.
Yeah.
I mean, at least experience it or go to somebody who has it.
Yeah, and try
look
it out.
through it, and then come back and go, okay, yeah.
You know what? I did
didn't-
see it. It did get me sick.
Right,
You know, I
yeah.
thought it would get me sick. It did get me sick. Or no, it was really a difference. For us, it is a major difference. It is a major upgrade. It literally took our Vive 1.0 and made it a 1.5.
Yeah.
And we look at it as an in between from the old, Vive to the, the new Vive Pro. It's now an in between.
Oh.
It brought new life to
Another bonus we didn't talk about, and this is a major one.
Only an hour and a half in.
Yeah. Now, if you do it and you have
He said
success,
do.
if you do it and have success like we did, replacement lenses are very cheap.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, think about it. I mean, you could now just go out and get another GearVR for less than $20. Pick out the lenses, pop them in.
Swap out your lenses.
And
And
you
for
find
those
some-
people that were afraid that their glasses were going to scratch their lenses and so on, now I have no
Take
fear
the
of
fear
scratching
away.
my lenses.
Yeah, because now you can. Heck, I might buy just another gear just to have it as a backup, just in case something happens to the lens or I have to. Hey, why not have an extra pair? With the actual lenses that came with the Vive. I don't even know. I can't even begin the hassle of returning that. Or first of all, you void your warranty, but I don't even know how you would even get lenses for it. So that's an extra bonus, is you can just get extra lenses. So
All right, with that,
We'll
I
wrap
think
it
we're
up.
going to wrap it up.
if you want to see more content from us, just subscribe, hit the like button, do that. All that.
Hit the bell
YouTube
button,
stuff.
smash the like button.
Post a comment.
But hit the bell notification, so at least if we update another one,
Yeah.
which we're gonna play. My daughter, she's gonna put some real time into playing. She's got a lot of Skyrim to get through. I'm actually getting past her, and she's not happy about that. She's got to get better at table tennis, and me and my son has to work on our putting game because it sucks. So.
Dad, spell Hrothgar. Do it. Go.
R-H-R, and then we brought some anacondas that we can't even battle anybody with.
We saw the battle with the anaconda.
So we got plenty
we got
of
plenty of
gaming
gameplay to do. So I mean,
so we'll jump back in again and maybe do a 20-day, but we may also throw some content in along between there, some VR content.
if you want to see us play games and stuff, just let us know. We
if
can
you
do
have
that on our other channel. We could
if
do
you have a
that.
suggestion, throw it out there. If you want to see us try to do something else with it, that's why we did what we did. So don't be afraid to holler. Give us a
All right. Any last thoughts from the chat?
No.
Okay.
Cheers and good job.
So thank you everybody who stayed with us and made suggestions, tips, and stuff. And for the next video, we will see you then.
All right. Peace, people. Thanks for tuning in.
Anytime. Let it rip.